From the voice of Honest Trailers, it's Epic Voice Reviews, and read your comments at the end. This summer, get ready for a film that had all the elements of a truly epic movie, such as a great storyline, terrific characters, great cast, and huge special effects, but somehow was full of scenes that dragged, character intros that fell flat, poor CG, and a final fight scene that should have been much bigger and better.
Before I start, I liked the movie, okay? So don't hate me because I liked the movie. It was very entertaining at the very least. However, there were pros and cons. First, the cons. Jubilee is one of my favorite characters from the old 90s X-Men cartoon. I did not read the comics. Don't hate me for that either. But I love Jubilee, and then we're finally going to get to see Jubilee do something. And she does absolutely nothing. She has like one line in the whole movie. She doesn't use her power. She's not involved in the final battle scene. She's barely in the film at all. And Nightcrawler is in the film a lot, and so is Storm. And I feel like both of those characters weren't done very well. Storm is all of a sudden Egyptian now? Is that a thing from the comics? Because I always thought she was an actual African. Nightcrawler just kind of felt like he was doing a bad impression of the Nightcrawler we already saw in the previous X-Men movies, which I thought was better. There was a lot of violence and language in this one compared to previous X-Men films. This is the first time an X-Men movie has come out where I felt like this is just way too much for me to let some of my younger kids watch it, and my 10-year-old likes these X-Men movies, and I don't think this one's going to be appropriate. It had the same problem that Batman vs. Superman had. The edit wasn't done very well. There was a lot of scenes that were very slow. Apocalypse was one of the things I was worried about being a terrible villain, and he wasn't all that bad. He just wasn't very menacing in the trailers, and they did the best they could to hide his face. As I watched the movie, I didn't have so much a problem with the way he looked. Actually, I'm okay with Apocalypse. The final battle should have been a little bit bigger and better. I mean, the special effects were all centered around Magneto, who literally just stands in the background doing little to nothing while they all fight each other a little bit. And I mean, he's supposed to pick the world's most powerful mutants, and he picks Archangel. They even use hard rock music to try to make Archangel look like this awesome character. It's not going to happen, guys. Angel's he's not a very good character. Even with the Silver Wings Archangel. As Angel or Archangel? I'm sure you guys will pick that apart in the comments. For one of the four horsemen, he just didn't feel like a very good choice. The special effects were actually pretty good for the most part, but there's a few scenes where it just looked like it was low-budget CG. With the trailers were flying, it was like video game cutscene bad. And now for the pros. Quicksilver was amazing yet again. Every scene in the movie that he is in is worth the price of admission. Jean Grey was actually awesome. I thought the casting choice was great. We got a little bit of Phoenix-y-ish powers type stuff. I thought that was very cool. In fact, I liked it better than I did in the original trilogy. In fact, they make a joke about the third movie being the worst. I'm not sure if that was referencing the first three X-Men movies or if this trilogy. We all knew Wolverine was going to be in it, but it wasn't just Wolverine, it was Weapon X, and it was like closest to the cartoon that I've seen. I was kind of confused because at the end of the last movie, you see Mystique saving Wolverine, and I'm like, so is this not happening? Are they changing that? And he ends up being turned into Weapon X anyway? So does Days of Future Past not erase the bad X-Men movies, or is it all part of the same story? Now I'm a little bit confused, because I was hoping that the Days of Future Past wiped out the crappy stuff that happened in X-Men, because Jean Grey obviously makes it to the end of the story. There were several things in this movie that felt so much like the 90s version of the cartoon that I saw. The final costumes were very similar to the costumes that I'm familiar with. And for non-comic fans, the after-credit scene alludes to one of my favorite X-Men villains, so that could have repercussions for not just the sequel to this movie, but other X-Men movies as well.
4 stars because it just wasn't quite as good as Days of Future Past. Just shy of excellent. Worth checking out in theaters. X-Men, a cosplayer list. Apocalypse. Rated PG-13. A not-so-buddy, not-so-cop whodunit in the seedy world of the late 70s sets the stage for an entertaining film in the nice guys. Terrific humor and a great story. There were only some minor editing issues where it kind of dragged a little bit, and there was a few moments where the acting was kind of obviously acting. But other than that, it was very, very entertaining. I mean, it wasn't all humor and it wasn't all action. It was a good mix of both. But Keith David alone, totally worth the price of admission. 4 stars, definitely worth a Redbox rental or discount theater, and you won't regret buying a full-price ticket. The Nice Guys, rated R, because of language and lots of beams. A feature-length celebrity cast mobile game. Yep, that's exactly what it was. Literally a drawn-out version of the story behind Angry Birds.
It was kind of meh for adults. There was a few off-color jokes that I was not happy with my kids hearing, and it was only a couple laughs for the grown-ups. It was mainly aimed for the kids, obviously. But it was okay. My family loved it as a family movie for the summer. The kids are out of school, so it's a great film to go see. And it was awesome hearing Ian and Anthony, my buddies from Smosh, in the cast.
A fun flick for families while the kids are out of school. 3 stars. A better Redbox rental than a trip to the theater. Angry Birds, rated PG.
Game of Thrones is so freaking good. It only gets better, and now that they're not completely confined by the books, they're starting to push the characters in the direction where they need to be to get some things done. We get to see the background story of Hodor. It's heartbreaking, some of the things we have to watch, but that's one of the things that I love about this show compared to something like Walking Dead, where Walking Dead has gotten too scared to get rid of some of its primary characters. Nobody is safe at all in Game of Thrones. In fact, you introduce a new character, don't get too attached, because you never know what's going to happen to him. The Flash ended kind of badly for me. You finally give Flash his powers back so we can actually call this The Flash, and Flash is actually in it. There was an awesome scene. It's been a while now, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We get to see the original Flash from the 90s back as a Flash, which was really cool for me. And then they go and do something that completely depletes the point of the first 2 seasons. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Now we're right back where we started all over again? This is ridiculous. Come on, don't do this to me. If this is going to be a recurring problem, I don't want to watch the show anymore. Show me something good. Gotham had a nice idea with the whole Rise of the Villains thing, but towards the end of the season, it turned into the campy, silly, cheesy 60s Batman show, where it was giant bombs and super silly villains, and it was just like, oh, come on, really? And I had such hope for it. There was a few episodes where I was like, this is actually pretty good. I'm actually interested in what happens to the characters. And then it just kind of just goes straight downhill. So, strike number 2, Flash, then Gotham. Fear the Walking Dead also let down. They're following by the numbers when it comes to the format laid out by The Walking Dead, when it's like, go to a new place, then blow it up. That's literally what they did. So come on, Fear the Walking Dead. We watch your show because there's supposed to be something different in it for us, as opposed to The Walking Dead. You can do better than this. I'll give you one more season and then I'm out. And shows that I don't talk about very much, the shows that my wife and I watch together. The Middle had a great season finale. If you don't watch The Middle and you're a family person, or you have older kids, or just you and your wife or whatever, it's a really funny show. You should check it out. The Middle, and it was great seeing Greg Sipes. Greg Sipes is the voice of Beast Boy Michelangelo. He's one of the minor characters in it, and he made an appearance in the final episode for the season, and I thought that was awesome. Big Bang Theory kind of fizzled out as I predicted. It was just kind of a meh season finale, and I'm like, well, that's it, no big thing. Finally, Preacher, the season premiere of Preacher, was pretty dang good. It got me sucked in. I don't know anything about the comics. I knew it was a comic. I've seen the comics but not read the comics, so I have no kind of basis on what to go on. Just strictly as a television watcher, I thought it was pretty good. And so far, I'm very interested to see where it goes. In fact, I was a little disappointed. That's how good it was. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't another episode last night. Instead, they just showed the pilot again. So that just shows that it actually has my curiosity piqued as to what's happening. So I'm going to keep on watching, and hopefully it will continue to get good. On Netflix, you've got The Ranch, which is kind of a remerging of the dudes with Hyde, and I forget his name, from the 70s show, Ashton Kutcher. But, and Sam Elliott's in it. I love Sam Elliott.
I love anything Sam Elliott does, and he's pretty freaking funny.
So it's got a little bit of heart, and it's got a lot of humor. But you know what? So far, I'm liking it. It's not the greatest comedy I've ever seen, but it's actually pretty fun to watch. And it's on Netflix, so if you already got Netflix, it's totally worth checking out. Bloodlines Season 2 finally premiered, and my buddy Kevin Brewitt got me hooked on Season 1, and then he never finished the first season. I did, and I was like, where can they possibly go from here? And there's still places to go from here. So I'm only on episode 3 right now, but it's still pretty good, and it's definitely worth watching on Netflix.
Please support this channel at patreon.com/epicvoiceguy and get all of these awesome shirts from ripapparel.com. Both links in the video description below. And now it's time for your comments. Mom spaghetti, knees weak, arm spaghetti. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom spaghetti. Would you say we'd be venturing into a zone of danger? Why so serious? Because I'm Batman. Watch as I destroy everything you ever loved, including our chicken nuggets. No, David, don't kill Max. He is new to the game. I only want to see you laughing in the purple rain. If you like this video, share it and click subscribe. Click here for more epic voice reviews. Click here for more imitation gaming videos.